All right, guys. This is Tara Devlin from Tarabuster, Unapologetic Liberal Talk, and it is exactly 6 months since the Republican Party incited an insurrection, incited treason, a terrorist attack against the seat of government. And they're not backing down. There's no responsibility. They're not taking any responsibility for the parts they played for spreading the big lie, and they're continuing to spread it. So we have to understand now. Those who watch Tarabuster know I talk about I'm in recovery. Many of us are in recovery in general. Nobody's perfect, one day at a time. But those who are in recovery understand that there's no recovery, there's no healing without responsibility, without admitting what you've done, admitting the part you've played. So we are nowhere near having whatever unity that Joe Biden pines for and and the Democrats pine for, which I'm kind of sick of them trying to reach out like battered spouse pining for an abuser. It's ridiculous. Nancy Pelosi constantly talks. She talks about take back your party. The American people need a Republican Party that's done so much good for America. They haven't done anything for them. What have they done for America? I guess the interstate highway. Eisenhower built the interstate highway. That was a long time ago. This isn't Eisenhower's Republican Party anymore. Nixon passed the EPA. This was all before my time. Well, what have they done in my lifetime? Nothing. They have divided and conquered this country. They've funneled more money into the arms of the rich. That's what they've done. They've bamboozled the American people in general. Everything that they talk about, it doesn't come to fruition. They wrap their BS ideology, their kiss up, kick down oligarchy in the veneer of legitimacy by giving it names like supply side economics, when we know it's voodoo economics. Nothing trickles. And the trickle itself, just the whole trickle down, is an insult. Who can live on a trickle? It doesn't even quench your thirst. So the American people, let's really get real here. Okay? Let's get real. The Republicans have no interest in democracy. And Mo Brooks is case in point. He's taking no responsibility for the incendiary language he used to incite the mob. They invited a mob to Washington, D.C. They spread the big lie, instigating the big lie, instigating the assault on the Capitol, and called for them to be willing to shed blood. And for those who don't remember, let's review the website Now This put this video together, and I want to thank them for that. So here's Mo Brooks on January 6th.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
They're not patriots.
Now, our ancestors sacrificed their blood, their sweat, their tears, their fortunes, and sometimes their lives to give us, their descendants, an America that is the greatest nation in world history. So I have a question for you. Are you willing to do the same?
To commit
My answer is yes. Louder.
a terrorist
Are you
attack
willing to
against
do
this
what
country?
It takes to fight for America? Louder. Will you fight for America?
Unbelievable. This is a man that's still supposedly representing the people of Alabama. And he's not representing this. He needs to be expelled from Congress. There's an amendment to get traitors out of our legislature, and there has to be some accountability for this, because we're in big trouble, guys. They're still at it. This January 6th was dress rehearsal. They're not backing down. They continue to spread the big lie. They're not taking responsibility because the party of personal responsibility only sticks to that motto when they're trying to deny somebody health care. So here's Mo Brooks right after January 6th on a radio show, and he's talking about Nazi Germany. Again, he's talking about Nazi Germany. He's confusing his willfully ignorant followers, and he's calling for violence yet again.
You can immigrate from that country, which is what a lot of people did in the 1920s and 1930s in socialist Germany with Adolf Hitler. You can submit, which is also what a lot of people did in Germany, or you can resist, often through violence.
Let's just unpack this or break this down. He's a liar. We know that. They do it deliberately, and that goes to show you how nefarious that the Republicans are, and how much they don't have the best interests of this country at heart. They're spreading the big lie about the election, the whole conflating Nazi Germany with. He's basically conflating Nazi Germany with the Democrats, with people who voted for Joe Biden, and also using calling Nazi Germany socialist Germany, doing that deliberately to confuse the morons, because the fact is, if you take conservatism to its ultimate conclusion, you will get fascism. You get fascism. It's a right-wing ideology. The Nazis were not socialists, but the Republicans know that. And they want the American people to understand that anything that they'll call anything socialist, anything that helps the average working person, they'll call socialist. The Nazis were not socialists. They were anti-socialist. Of course, they disbanded labor unions. They controlled militaristic, what else? Misogynist, the otherizing immigrants, and as we know, and other ethnic groups. This is not socialism. It's not liberalism in any sense of the word. It sounds more like the Republican ideology, doesn't it? Well, they use the same lingo, but they need their dumbasses to be confused. So whenever we try to ensure that nobody dies needlessly without health care, they can cry Nazism. So socialism is the Nazis were socialists, like the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea is a democratic republic, but they know this. They also know that they're spreading the lie, the big lie about Twitler's so-called victory in the 2020 election. Twitler has been signaling. He signaled since before, in 2016, that he would only accept the results of the election if he won. So I'm not surprised, though, that the Republicans are confused, since they receive fewer votes and continue to squat in the White House. In my entire life, Republican presidents have been squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. And the Republican Senate, when they were in the majority, they received fewer votes. And the House, the same thing. The Democrats received over 1 million more votes, and when the Democrats were in the minority, the Republicans still remained in the majority, despite receiving fewer votes. This is not democracy, but they don't care about democracy. When it gets in the way, democracy has to go. The closer we get to becoming a more perfect union, this is when the terrorism breaks out. That's the history of our country. You could see it just in the Jim Crow South. If you want to have another example, if democracy breaks out, the right wing resorts to terrorism. So this is where we are, and they're not backing down. You have to take responsibility to heal. They're not. They don't want to heal. They want to overthrow the government that the founders fought a revolution to entrust to us. They're not patriots. Just because you wear an ugly shirt with an eagle on it doesn't make you a patriot. That's not patriotism. They know the symbols of patriotism because the substance is very confusing to them. But that's why what we're doing now, calling them out, and I truly hope that that the Democrats stop, Nancy Pelosi, if you're listening to this, stop pining for Republicans to take back their party. Because there's nothing drives me more insane besides everything else than what Nancy Pelosi says about the Republicans. Please take back your party. The American people need a Republican party that's done so much good for America. What have they done? What have they done? They haven't done anything in my lifetime. They're a minority, greed-centered oligarchy death cult that funnels more money to the top. And that's not democracy. That's not. We have a lot of work to do. And it has to start with ensuring that those who incited an insurrection, treason against this country, are held responsible. Because otherwise, we're done. We're done. Nothing less than the constitutionally limited democratic republic hangs in the balance. So we are the real patriots. Liberals are the patriots. And I don't care if these Republicans, they like to wear their tri-cornered hats and whatnot. That doesn't make you a patriot. Because if we went back to the 1770s, we know what side they would be on. It was the progressives who created this country. Progressives. There is nothing more progressive than overthrowing a king and an intergenerational aristocracy. There's nothing more progressive than pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other to promote the general welfare over the welfare of the intergenerational aristocracy. The founders were students of the liberal age of enlightenment. And I don't know what this Republican Party is, but they have disingenuously claimed the mantle of patriotism when they are the furthest from a patriot. So we have a duty to everyone who ever fought, bled, and died for this government to ensure that they are not successful, legally and peacefully, of course. But it starts with making them take responsibility. If they won't take responsibility on their own, there has to be legal consequences. Otherwise, we're done. Mo Brooks should be expelled from Congress. All of them should. We know that's not going to happen because the Republicans are all in on it. And then if you don't know my show, Tarabuster, and why I say Republican, let me just tell you. I call them the Republican Party, not only because they're cons, but because I'm tired of listening to them say Democrat Party. It drives me up the wall. Every time you hear them on corporate media, they're being interviewed by someone on corporate media, and they just slip this Democrat Party thing in there, like it's a gang sign that it's sort of like telling the rest of them, like, hey, I'm with you. But no one ever calls them out, and so now it's slipped into our lexicon, but it's a pejorative that was deliberately created to give a bad feeling to people. So they emphasize the word rat. Democrat Party. Democratic sounds so much nicer. So they don't say that. So how are we ever going to have unity with people? They're spreading a big lie. They won't take responsibility. They can't even say the damn name of the party. And nobody calls them out except Nancy Pelosi sits there pining for them to do something. What have they done please take back your party? Where are they taking? They're taking it and us to an autocracy. Oh, don't worry. If they are successful, we'll have an autocracy, and there'll be a lot of flags and stars and all kind. We'll still have eagles flying and dumbasses wearing shirts that say these colors don't run, but it won't be the government that the founders fought a revolution to entrust to us. It'll be the system that the founders fought a revolution to escape. One where the rich own everything and run everything, and everyone else knows their place and awaits their rewards in heaven. So that's on the line. And it starts with making them take responsibility, like especially the likes of Mo Brooks. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out for this Tara's Tirade. And please subscribe to Tarabuster. We do a weekly show on Saturdays. We also do shows during the week. This is the real liberal media, unapologetic liberal media on the right side of history, decency, dignity, and democracy. And we will win. We will. They know that because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. And my name is Tara Devlin. We stick together. We win. I'll see you soon.